Good. Okay, so can you just introduce yourself and tell me a little bit about yourself?
Sure. My name is Parker Ziegler. I'm a sophomore this year at Middlebury College studying Arabic and geography. And I'm in Show Mitchell's Spirit of Change class, which I'm loving. Having a great time learning Tai Chi and mindfulness alongside studying issues of poverty in Addison County.
And what site are you working at?
I'm working at HOPE, which stands for Helping Overcome Poverty's Effects, under the mentorship of Jean Montross, who's been a really great mentor thus far.
And can you tell me a little bit about what you've been doing so far?
So the project that I'm actually working on involves a long spreadsheet of phone numbers, and I'm calling these people who have been helped by HOPE in the past year or so, and I'm calling them to check in on their housing situation to see whether they're in the same house, if they have moved, if they're up to date on their finances. It's sort of standard practice for a nonprofit like HOPE to follow up with the people that they've helped to see, are our policies working, are people still taking advantage of them, or are people kind of falling back to where they were before we helped them. And so you get a lot of disconnected phone numbers, you get a lot of voicemails with different names. You reach very few people, but the people you do, it's always really interesting to hear their experiences and talk a little bit and feel like you are helping to ensure that some of what HOPE does is having lasting effects. So it's been great.
From your time there so far, what can you tell me exactly, what is HOPE in your
So Jean has really created something pretty unique and special at HOPE, and I really admire her for it. I think what the organization does, it has several different initiatives, as a food bank, a sort of charity retail thrift store, and it also exports a lot of sort of additional materials that it gets to other countries even. And so her kind of mission statement, what she's trying to do, is really work to fill in the blanks that exist in Addison County. She sort of speaks about this ideology of empire building that she sees in a lot of other nonprofits. The idea being to grow and to get bigger, to get more money, more grants, and that is really not what HOPE is focused on. We're more focused on finding what are the unmet needs and how do we fill those kind of blanks in the gap in the Addison County community. And so she sort of joked at the end of our discussion on Monday that her goal is to one day be out of business. That is what she's kind of constantly striving to do, and to hopefully one day create a community that is completely self-sufficient and has services such that HOPE is no longer needed.
Can you tell me a little bit about the people that you've worked with, or the people that you've talked to on the phone?
Yeah, so the people I've worked with have a tremendous degree of optimism. I don't know how they stay as excited as they do. Incredibly busy. They all took the time to stop and introduce themselves and talk to me, and you can tell that they love having volunteers. They're very, very effusive with their appreciation. So it's been great working there. And then a lot of the people that I'm talking to on the phone, I mean, like I said, you reach very few of the actual people. But those that you do tend to be very positive about what HOPE has done for them. And they tend to tell you stories and sort of get into the details of, oh, HOPE gave me this much money, oh, you guys are great, you moved me into this new place and I love living there. So I think all around there's an incredible optimism and positivity surrounding the organization and the work it does. And I think having the ability to enter into that kind of seamlessly like I did was a real blessing. And Jean just kind of grabs you and she says, all right, we're putting you right on the front line and we're putting you to good work right away. And I think really having that experience, not spending a whole lot of time just filing, but instead doing something that they need volunteers to do, and also just getting you interacting with the people that are trying to help immediately. I think it's been a really incredible opportunity.
How do you think that your experiences with Hope so far have had an impact or on your perspective of poverty in Madison County?
I think one of the biggest things I've seen is that in the United States, where poverty is sort of this invisible entity that we talk about, we don't see people walking around on streets. You see the occasional homeless person, but they have a very identifiable archetype. It's, you know, a long beard, scraggly clothes, you know, collecting cans in a shopping cart that they got from the local grocery store. But homelessness doesn't take that form all the time, and really rarely does it take that form. And I think what working at Hope has shown me is that there are very different types of homelessness and very different types of poverty. When we kind of try to group it together as this blanket entity that we can just kind of deal with in summary fashion, I think that misses a lot of the nuances and the diversity of situations that can lead to an impoverished lifestyle.